So you just want to go down the list?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'll start it off. I guess probably Callaway did good.
Unless we want to build up to, any of the big games at the end. I guess they're all the same important, so we can just go through them.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so you guys ready?
For me.
Yeah, man.
All right. Starting it in 3, 2, 1. It's here, guys. We've been doing this since the middle of August. It's finally here. The playoffs are here. Welcome to week number 12, the first week, full playoffs here in the Chattahoochee Valley.
Try again.
Good. Your world. Your world.
I think I might keep that as a blooper.
All right. Try again.
Hey, Neem, what should I do here? I'm going with Neem. Let's knock this out. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to week number 12 of the PrepZone football preview. I'm Jack Patterson, Jonathan Husky, David Mitchell. We finally made it. The playoffs are here, guys.
Yeah.
Been a long awaited, and man, not a lot of matchups, but the matchups we do have,
Good ones.
good grief.
A lot of good ones.
Gonna be thrillers. And speaking of thrillers, let's start off where we left off last Saturday night, LaGrange, Georgia, Callaway Stadium, the Region 5 AAA championship game. I was there, and I still think it's the most phenomenal game I've ever seen in my as long as I've been covering high school football. Callaway on the wrong side, heartbreaking loss, losing on a block return for a touchdown. That's time expires.
I don't cover either of these teams, but I watched that on Monday. Dane recapping that game, and man, that's and two good football teams too.
Two very good football teams. I spoke with Terry Godwin after the game, and he says that there's keep in mind he's been a starting quarterback for pretty much half the season now. We're all used to him making electrifying catches and plays on defense, but he's been a starting quarterback for half the season, and he's led this team. I mean, they haven't missed a step, and they just Central was the number 6 team in the state, number 1 defense in AAA, put up 34 points on them. Pretty much had the game won up until that moment. They'll take on Ringo this Friday night.
Who was a top 10 team to start the season.
Exactly.
A very good football team, obviously. It's going to be a tough matchup for both teams, I guess.
Yeah, and by the way, if Callaway wins, a date with Washington County in the House of Pain awaits.
You don't get a break there. You get Ringgold to start the playoffs, and then Washington County if you
I have the winner
escape the first round.
Assuming all things go right, I have the winner of that Callaway Washington County game winning the state. So that should tell you a lot about it.
Yeah.
Tell you how good that game will be. And we go from Callaway, Ringo, if I can get my phone to stay on, Jones County and Carver. Now we know Carver, they've been here before. But remember last year, they almost had a letdown in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is an interesting game for them because Jones County is, again, when you lose that top seed and have to play as the number 2, you're not getting the benefit of facing that 4 seed that squeaked its way into the playoffs. You're getting a team that Jones County has spent time in the top 10 this year. A very, very good football team. Formerly, Dwight Jones coached there before he came to Harris County last year. So,
and we see what he's done to Carver this year.
This is a very good football team. So it's no easy break for Carver in the first round. Now, again, we revert back to what we've said about them all year. They've got the guys. They just have to put it together, put a game together, and they're more than capable of getting out of that game.
What makes me nervous about Carver in this game is they have, since they lost to Harris County, there has not been a lot of competition that they have faced. They've been able to kind of roll through the remainder of the regular season there. So, do they come out a little flat? Could they come out a little flat? You don't know. You wonder, but it's a possibility. And I think with that team, it's something to worry about.
Yeah, sometimes that helps confidence-wise.
Sure.
To get some games so that you can do what you do.
Sure.
And not, just kind of get the feeling, understanding the muscle memory of what you do running your offense and your defense.
There's do what you do, and then there's being up 42-0 at the half against Hardaway to end the regular season. So, I mean, I think they should win. I think Carver has the talent to make a deep run. No matter what classification they're playing in, I don't think any of us disagree with that. I just think they have there's potential there for there to be a little bit of a letdown, just because this is, they're going to have to kind of, refire the engines. And the last time they were really tested was Harris County, and they got beat pretty handily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking, we'll keep it into the 1-5A versus 2-5A matchups. We have Northside versus Northside, Columbus versus Warner Robins, Patriots versus Eagles. Northside, they surprised a lot of people, myself included, by making it into the playoffs over what many people thought would be Shaw would be the 4 seed.
Yep.
Well, moving on from there, we've got a score update.
That's the Atlanta Hawks, by the way.
Yeah. I'm not going to write Northside, the Columbus Varieties. I'm not going to write their obituary yet, but it's definitely, they're playing Northside Warner Robins, one of the best teams in the state. It's good that they got in, good that they have this opportunity. They're going to have to play perfect football, better than perfect football.
And that still might not be enough.
Play perfect and get some help.
Right.
I went out to Northside as we shoot this on a Wednesday. I went out to Northside and spoke with Morgan Ingram and the crew out there for a little bit. And I mean, let's not overshadow the fact that they got in. I mean, it's a horrendously difficult draw for them in the first round, but third time in school history they've made the playoffs. There's Northside Patriots are in the playoffs for the third time in school history.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people expected that this year. And he said something interesting, Coach Ingram did, when I was asking him about it. And he said when he met with the team the first time on Monday, after everything had shaken out, they saw the draw, they saw the bracket, he brought up the Auburn-Texas A&M game. Nobody expected Texas A&M to go in and beat Auburn. He said, going to play the number 3 team in the country on the road, freshman quarterback, nobody gave him a shot. And we all know how that ended up. And so the message that he's showing all these, or he's giving all his, that he's giving all his players and the team is, why not us?
Right.
Why not us? Why can't we be the team that comes out there and shocks the world and gives that upset? Now, I mean, obviously, you're going to have to get some help. But the way I always look at these kind of games is that people always call them David versus Goliath games.
Right. Yep.
David won that battle.
Right.
So you never know.
You gotta remember,
You never know.
And when it comes to high school football, these are still high school students, high school football players, 16 to 18 years old, same age. It's not like Florida State versus Marshall here.
Right.
We've got two teams that they're both learning the same way as the other is. Yeah. Now, again, it's going to take a perfect performance, perfect outing, a lot of execution to give themselves a chance and a little bit of help.
And some help.
But
I'll take this line from our open on Friday nights. Anything goes on a Friday night.
That's right.
You never know what can happen.
Boys, Florida Georgia Line, speaking the truth.
Exactly. And we'll stay in Warner Robins. This one's on a Thursday night. We have LaGrange going down to Houston County. And I don't know about you guys, but I got LaGrange pulling this one off.
I wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I go back to, you saw how much faith I had in LaGrange. I thought they'd give Carver a run back in the region game. Mon Denson's healthy again.
And Mon Denson looked good Thursday night.
He's a man.
I haven't seen, not covering LaGrange, I haven't seen them play. So I'm kind of taking this from a step back, what I see other teams do against other teams. One thing I'll say about Houston County, they went into Northside Warner Robins last week and nearly beat them. They had them dead to rights.
Sure.
Houston County's a dang good football team. So it's gonna, again, it's like what we just said about Northside versus Northside Warner Robins. It's a challenge. It's a big challenge. You're going to have to play really sound football to come out of there for sure.
I'll tell you this. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what Warner Robins team you're playing. It is very, very difficult to go into McConnell Talbot Stadium in Warner Robins and win.
Now, but what do you need to win in the playoffs? You need defense and you need a running game.
Running game.
And
Absolutely.
LaGrange has one of the best running games around.
If you can shorten the game.
If they can get a lead early,
give
and let Mondenson do Mondenson things, then, you got it. The kid's going to South Carolina for a reason.
Right. Hashtag Mondenson things.
Hashtag Mondenson things. Yeah,
That's
he
a
follows
thing
me on
now.
Twitter. So Mon, we're gonna get you trending this Friday. Do some things. But I mean, he's got the talent. They've got the talent around him. LaPerry and Perry's a good player out there. So I mean, they got the kind of running game that lends itself to success in the postseason. So I'm with you. I think LaGrange has a shot, a good
Absolutely.
shot.
We'll stay with Warner Robins teams. This one's coming down to Hamilton to play Warner Robins in Harris County. The Tigers opening up the playoffs at home for the second time in 3 years.
Now, this is an interesting one because Harris County, it's a team that the last 3 years has been very good, has been growing, and it almost feels like this year is the culmination of that 3-year progression that they've had. I think this is the best team of those three. And again, they have a chance to set program records for wins, and I think they've got a chance to go deep into the playoffs. But then on the other side, you have Warner Robins, who's the 4 seed, but also a little bit more history, a little bit more a tradition there long term. They've been in these situations. They've been in the playoffs. They've made runs. So it's an interesting matchup. It's not an easy one. I talked to Dwight Jones today about it, and he's cautioned his guys against that just because you're the 1, they're the 4 doesn't mean anything. We're going in there against a really good program that has turned out a lot of good players, a lot of good teams. But with that said, Harris County's playing
Really good.
Really good football. They gave up a lot of points on defense last week against Shaw, but they facing the hurry up, Shaw's hurry up, in a game that did not mean anything to them.
Can't overlook that.
But offensively, they can do just about anything that they want against any team in the state, and I really believe that. And I made a point last week that I think they've got a shot to be that state dark horse.
And I would venture to guess that there's not a team, definitely not in this region, maybe even in the state, not a team playing with more confidence than Harris County is right now.
And the versatility on that offense is too much.
I go back to the last time I saw them in person was the Harris County Carver game, and I just the way that they were acting in that game. It just oozed. It's a cliche, but the confidence just oozed out of everything they did, and then they've carried that. They've carried that every game since then, and have won every game since then. So, I think me. I'm a big mental side guy. They're a real good place mentally, and I think I think that's gonna pay off well for them.
You got to looking at their offense just in the running game. Now they're a run-based offense, but just in the running game. 10 games, 10 regular season games, they've already got a running back with, I believe, around 1,400 yards, and their quarterback, that's Tay Crowder, and then their quarterback, Taquan Marshall, has about 1,100 yards. So they got 2 guys well over 1,000 rushing yards right now. And then, Marshall can throw the ball a little bit too. They don't turn the ball over. They got a great offensive line. And just a lot of sound football players.
And they give you those 2 guys especially, and not to take anything away from the McKibbins and the other guys that are on that offense, but Marshall and Crowder, they give you like an escape valve almost, because it's a lot of confidence in knowing that if a play breaks down, if everybody's covered, if something happens that you're not planning for, they have the athleticism. Marshall has the athleticism to extend the play, and if he can't make the play himself, he can probably somehow get the ball to Tay Crowder or get the ball to McKibbin or get the ball to somebody and get at least something positive out of it.
The options when he's faking the handoff to Crowder, who rushes for 8 or 9 yards per carry, and then he's dropping back, has the option to pass or to run himself. He's not turning the ball over. He's got over 1,000 passing yards, and then, by the way, he's got 1,100 rushing yards too. So it's so much to account for defensively, and it's really, really tough. I don't care how good your defense is. That's a really tough offense to defend.
Yeah.
My pick to win the state championship, Harris County.
Wow, he's going bolder than I am. I said they were the dark horse. He's going
out there.
He's
That is
braver
my
than I
pick.
am.
On the record.
I think they've got a real shot. Now we were talking about it. They got a tough draw.
Tough draw.
Warner Robins potentially facing Gainesville or Alexander in the second round. It's not easy, but it's.
And then Alatoona looms in the Elite 8.
Yeah, they're going to be. In any game that they play, they're going to be in that conversation. So,
we'll jump the river to Alabama now.
Okay.
2 games. But, oh my goodness. We've been waiting since, then they play, in September for the rematch?
Yeah.
Central and Prattville 2 with 1 key omission, and it's not good for Central.
No, it's not good. I mean, you can't say anytime you lose your best player, you can't say it's a good situation.
No.
I mean, you can sugarcoat it, you can do whatever you want, but it's not a good situation. You're missing your best player. However, I don't think it's all doom and gloom for Central. I think a lot of people want to say, well, Trey Samuel's out. It's been a good season, but the run's over. Bad luck, whatever. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think the game plan changes a little bit. Last week when Samuel got hurt, they had a whole game plan that had him involved in it. And when he was gone, they had to go on the fly and try to change things. And so they only scored 20 points, their fewest of the season. Now they've got a full week to kind of step back, look at everything, figure out what we need to move, who we need to focus on. And I think things will look a lot better for them this week. I think you give a heavy dose of Kenneth Thomas and Jackson Carson in the running game, and you got 2 big receivers, Quan Weaver and Jamal Couch, who both handled the Prattville secondary the first go round. Quarterback Zion Webb had 200 passing yards in the first half against Prattville the first time. So again, we said before we started, the future is now for Zion Webb at quarterback with Central. So
the thing that makes me nervous though about this game for Central is that they are missing Travion Samuel. They are missing their best player. And then, I mean, I don't think you can look over the fact that this is the second time they played Prattville in 2 months. Mm-hmm. And then I don't think you can look over the fact that there's a lot of off-the-field stuff that is motivating Prattville right now. I mean, they got embarrassed by Central earlier in the year. They get run out of the building, but Central has handily outplayed them in that game. You've got the Jamie DuBose connection. I think that Prattville could come in. I mean, you know, as soon as the bracket shook out and they looked at this as a possibility, they had this game circled, and they were hoping that this shook out. They wanted that next shot at Central. So I think this is a trap game for Central. I think they can win. I think they should win, but I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be real tough.
By the same token, with the motivation factor, I'd throw out just the fact that you don't have Samuel out there is a lot of motivation for these guys who they've had to hear Trey's name all year. Mm-hmm. You know, these guys are guys looking for respect as well, trying to prove that it's not a one-man show out there on offense. They've got a lot of good players. And so I think there's that. And I also think, you look back, football programs have a long memory. And Prattville did keep Central away from a state championship in 2011, and no regular season win is going to erase that. So I think there's that motivation factor.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. They beat Prattville for the first time ever in the regular season. They want to get that playoff
right.
That's a very good point.
That cost them a shot.
That's a very good point.
In 11.
I like in this Central team now, even though it's different situations, it's a similar concept to what Georgia's had to deal with no Todd Gurley. Your best player. Gone.
Well, Georgia lost a game, so I don't know.
Georgia did lose a game, but 3 of the 4 games they did play.
But other guys step up.
Yeah, other guys step up. Chubb, Bennett, Conley, Mitchell, Hudson Mason. Mm-hmm. That's what Central needs. They need Zion Webb, Carson, all these guys. They need these guys to step up.
And Webb is the future leader of this offense. He's only a sophomore right now. He's played very well, but he's been able to rely on guys like seniors like Trey and Ethan Baber and Kenneth Thomas. Now he's just maybe got to step up a little bit earlier than he thought and kind of take the reins of this offense.
He's given every indication that he can do.
Great quarterback, very good.
And the final game we'll be covering this week on the Prep Zone in 6A. Saraland coming to Opelika. Brian Blackman's boys, they've done a great job. They've said that this is the year. The coaches have gone on record saying this is one of their favorite classes they've ever had, and they don't want to stop coaching these boys.
Yep.
And honestly, I think Saraland will give them a test, but I don't know if anybody can stop Opelika. Nobody outside of Central has been able to stop Opelika this year.
With the move, the reclassification, and with Auburn and Smith Station and Central all going up to 7A and Opelika staying down in 6A, they've kind of been that invisible team this year. I mean, obviously we've covered them a lot, deservedly so, but they just don't get the publicity and the talk that that kind of three-headed 7A monster does. But if you look back, and they have been just as good as any of those teams, and better than most of those teams. So, you know, I mean, to me, Opelika is kind of they're just the machine that just keeps on marching. And I mean, they're doing everything right. You know, Josh Johnson is showing himself to be, I mean, goodness, more than capable, just an elite running back in the state in that classification at the very least. And the way the defense is played and the quarterback play, you know, they're a team that just goes out and they do what they do, and it's worked for them so far. And I think, you know, a win Friday, they jump back into I think a lot of people go, oh yeah, Opelika's pretty good. Yeah. So,
yeah. In case you forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big. All right, we'll be right back. Dane's got his take on some of the playoff games that we'll be covering this week. So, Dane, take it away. Okay, Jonathan, question for you.
What's up?
Is Calvary playing this week?
That guy might know actually more so than me.
Because I know they made it, but I'm not sure.
Go to the.
It's not on the PrepZone
GICAA website, or just Google GICAA.
Yeah, this is headed there.
Hawks win, by the way.
Good for them. Good job, Hawks.
That's 3 in a row.
I think if you go to sports up at the. Yeah, there you go. An 11-man football.
Yeah. Yes.
They have.
There's an 8-man.
Look over out in Nebraska, I think they have 6-man football.
That's crazy.
All right, they play. Yes, they do play.
Well, we'll just make quick mention.
Yeah. I was gonna.
I need to add that to the PrepZone thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
I'll quickly mention that plus chat code and notice logo.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Good to go.
Yep. You ready, Jonathan?
Yep.
All right. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Dane Young, as always, giving us his take on
Pure
stuff.
gold.
Solid.
Pure gold.
Solid.
Yes, very solid. Quick games that we want to also mention. We don't want to leave any teams out. Chatco back in the playoffs for the first time in a few years.
Yep.
They'll be on the road against Greater Atlanta Christian. Notasulga, they won last week late, and they'll be on the road against Fruitdale. And Calvary Christian will be here in Columbus at Britt David Park.
They're at home against Community.
Against Community Christian. I think that's a semifinal game, isn't it?
It is.
Quarterfinal. Or no, I'm sorry.
Semifinal. Yeah, they get started right
yes,
away.
That's
in the
right. Yeah,
semifinals.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, hey, they win. They're in the state championship
right,
game.
yeah. They're the Calvary, the number 2 seed. They're in the GICAA AA. They're Sherwood
Not a
Christian.
mouthful.
Sherwood Christian facing the Giants fame is number 1, Calvary 2, then they're facing Community at 3, and Creekside Christian is at 4. And I mean that's an interesting bracket. I mean it's 4 teams strong. It's choice is what it is.
These teams have seen each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting
Calvary's
to. Every
already-
single one of these teams has played each other.
Yeah.
Calvary's already defeated the 3 and 4 seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that
That'd be
off the top of my head.
Very well could be a Calvary Sherwood rematch for the state title next week.
Yeah.
There you go.
How about them Knights?
We're
All right.
there.
So, and speaking of we're there,
Yeah.
we're everywhere this week. We will be at all the games that we've mentioned, gone in depth with. Also, Dane Young will be in Houston County. We're pretty much making a bureau out there.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Thursday for LaGrange, Houston County. Friday for the Battle of the North Sides.
Yep.
Jonathan will be at Harris County and Warner Robins for the Friday night tailgate, along with Bob Jeswal. David, where are you
I
going
believe
to
actually David Reese will be out
Oh,
there.
David
instead of
Reese. I
Bob,
forgot
yes.
about that.
I can't.
We're not losing anything going from Bob to David. We're at L level.
No,
Yes.
no.
I can't split myself into 6 or 7 pieces, so I'm gonna just stay together and be at Central this week.
He's back at Central. He's living in the locker room, and he's just not telling nobody. And I'll be in Opelika for Sarah Lynn Opelika. I'm not even going to start. I'll be in Opelika for Sarah Lynn and Opelika. And as always, we'll have highlights galore on the PrepZone. Well, not galore, but the games that we do have, we'll have highlights.
Games we can get, we'll get them.
Yeah, so we're all over the place. And as always, follow us on Twitter. We will be everywhere telling you what's going on. And hopefully we'll be back next week and not having a season wrap up. We'll have at least one more week of this.
Yep.
I think we'll be back.
I do too. And single A teams play next week, so they'll be on this show next week.
Yeah.
But for Jonathan and David, I'm Jack. I'm telling you, go out and check out these games. You won't be disappointed. At least hopefully you won't. And we'll see you for week 13 of the Prep Zone football preview. Will it be lucky or will it be not? We'll find out. Oh boy,